Instagram.
Does that automatically connect to me too?
Yes.
On Instagram? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, now my go live is working. Okay, so now I can click on it. There we go. And then Miss Rachel, we now have her.
Look at us figuring this out.
I know.
I
Like, when I
know.
saw it feels like it's too close.
Well, it's okay. There you go. I was like, there must be a delay. Okay, so we are now on Instagram. Let me
Yeah,
see if
I
we're
didn't
on YouTube.
I
We're
didn't
supposed
see
to be.
anything that said like you could show it, like share this with your audience. I didn't see any of that.
That's weird. All right. All right. So we are now live on Instagram. We're now live on YouTube. But what I
And
wanted to be able to do,
can
no,
we
I
see?
don't like that.
We could see comments and stuff in here.
That's a good question. My understanding with the live on Instagram is like I can see it on Instagram,
Mhm.
but not necessarily like in here. Like in here, we might be able to see what happens from YouTube though. It's
okay.
been a hot minute since I've used it. And when I used it the last time, I used it on Facebook and YouTube, not Instagram. And when you go on Instagram, it's supposed to automatically go to portrait, but it still has this kind of landscaped on
Yes.
Instagram because I'm looking at it. So I don't know. We're just gonna wing it like eyeliner, like I usually do,
Yeah.
because that's what
I
it
know
was supposed to do.
it was super fun last time when we could see all the comments and stuff. But like I see a
Yeah,
thing here on my screen that says comments and chat, but I don't know
it
where that
does.
goes to.
It's just it like right now if I look at it, it says all destinations, but it says YouTube. It doesn't say
Mhm.
Instagram. So it almost looks like you would have to look at Instagram to get the comments. I can see the comments because I'm on a computer, so I have Instagram pulled up separately.
Same.
Oh, okay.
I
So
also do.
I don't.
okay, yeah.
We'll keep
Well,
you.
we'll help you. We will teamwork
can't
over here.
see anything.
All right. So, ladies, did you guys enjoy DOD?
It was so good.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was freezing cold the first night, but
It was
so
awful.
good.
The
So
whole
good.
day. The whole day was like I couldn't feel my fingertips on Saturday.
No, Friday night showing up late and unloading and then tech and getting the
Hi,
registration.
Ego.
It was
Ego's saying
terrible.
hello.
Hi,
LaRon is
Echo.
saying hello.
Who let him in?
I was half tempted to add him to the live.
Yeah.
He talks all of this stuff, but he would like never show his face.
So he's
behind the
happy.
scenes.
He's happy in the comments. Got it.
He's a behind the scenes guy.
Oh,
Amber says, "Yo, hi,
That's all.
Amber."
What's up, Amber?
Everybody has agreed. LaRon and Juliana. Juliana said the first night was unreal in that cold. It
So
was
bad.
awful. And the fact that we got such a nice day on Sunday was such a great reprieve.
Thank God. I couldn't have taken 3 days in the cold. My race suit did not come off, that's for sure. And it wasn't for safety reasons.
No.
I didn't actually put my suit on until Sunday. Amber said they're hanging a shelf in the garage. She said she's sorry they're late. And not another car vlog, which is Brian. Hey, lovely ladies. Hope you're having a great night. And LaRon is off and running. He says, no, I did not agree and was warm out. LaRon, we're turning you off. I told you I can boot you if I want to.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
I do like him. He is at least entertaining. All right. So let's start with, all right. So you and LaRon came in Friday as well too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We loaded in Friday.
Because I think you guys came in about the same time my group came in. There was still some daylight when we got there.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
there was a little bit when we first pulled in, and then we had to like unhook the trailer and then run out and get gas because we were out of like, propane for the toter. So we were gonna have like no heat or no cooking.
Oh, heck no.
Fuel. Yeah, so like we unhooked the trailer and then ran back out to go get propane from like a Tractor Supply.
Yeah, it was too cold to not have heat.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was thankful that I had started looking at the idea of renting an RV, and I was like, do I really want to spend the money? I could make the van work. And then when it worked out for like Brian needing to like take care of the dogs. I was like, all right, well let's do this. You, me, Amy, we're in.
There you go. Yeah, that's awesome.
Amber would like to know what everybody's having for holiday dinner.
Oh, holiday dinner. That's so good. So I don't cook holiday dinner. I go to my parents and I always make a homemade baked mac and cheese from scratch. And then I'm bringing a veggie tray. And the hilarious thing about bringing homemade baked mac and cheese is I am highly lactose intolerant. I can't have it. So I can't even taste test it to tell you if it's any good.
Oh, that's so sad.
That is terrible.
Yeah, sorry.
How about you, Shar? Oh, go ahead.
I am not cooking this holiday. I actually work Christmas. I'm seeing patients on Christmas.
Okay.
But then I'll go to mom's house and then just devour whatever they're all making for me.
Yeah. There you go.
My dad is the chef in our family, so he normally cooks something elaborate. But in the past couple years, we have gotten to the point where we're just kind of keeping it simple.
Yeah.
And I'm on the fence. I'm heavily considering going to Georgia for Caffeine and Octane. To, like, check out the track. I don't think I'll qualify for their media, so I haven't like fully like filled out the form to see if I can get in for media for it.
I think you might do okay there.
You think? Because I looked at their media form and they were asking for a lot, and I haven't redone my website yet. Like, I took it down so I could rebuild it, and I haven't stopped long enough to rebuild it. So maybe I'll toss something together.
I also want to say that even without having like legit media there, because it's set up in like a circular
spectator
thing, you'd probably be able to shoot from anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, I don't like an oval track, right?
Yeah, it's an oval track, and I don't think their media goes onto the track.
Okay.
I think they shoot from outside the track.
Okay. All right. Well, then maybe I'll give it a shot then. Amber says she has to work Christmas too, and they're doing lasagna.
Ooh.
Juliana said, LaRon, what are you cooking for Shar?
Yeah.
Cereal.
What can he order?
Cereal.
All right. What kind of cereal? Lucky Charms? What are we talking about?
Oh,
because when we were just at PRI this weekend,
because you went from one event, like a day off, to like another event.
Just unloaded the cars from DOD in the rain on Monday.
Okay.
Just 2 days ago now. Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. So PRI, like the hotel has breakfast included, since we're talking about cereal, and like Jay went like full kid and got a bowl of Lucky Charms, and then he's like, oh, there's milk left, I have to get more. I'm like, you're such a kid. I'm like, that's the shit I did when I was like 8.
Yeah.
You are not 8.
I wish I could still eat stuff like that with all my food allergies. With all my food allergies and stuff, like, it's just like I can't eat anything fun anymore.
I was super jealous. That's all it was. I can't have the milk. So
that's understandable.
Yeah. I was like, I really want to do that too, but I can't.
It's not possible.
Well, I will say that I like the fact that one of the things that they did with DOD this year was they did tech Friday night. Like, they had like one person who was willing to like do tech Friday night.
That poor guy.
I don't even know who it was. I just remember I went to take Brian over because he had the RV and pulled the car with the RV.
Yeah.
I took Brian over to register, and I'm like, that looks like they're doing tech. I feel like they're doing tech. And then he took the car back over so he could do tech. That line was so freaking long.
And like, I don't know if I was on a golf cart or something, and I saw him at the front of the line waiting to go under the like carport, and I was like, and he was all excited. And then the next day he's like, I didn't see you. And I was like, you did?
Promise.
Like, you were waving frantically like a lunatic.
Brian said Lee was the person who was running tech. And then Ron said the whole family ran that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice. I guess like mom inside, dad running tech, and like
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, I stopped briefly because when he went in for registration, dad tech. Okay. I know that when he went in for registration, I stopped to talk to Maryland Motor Works. So they were like all like slowly kind of making their way down through the cars.
Oh, yeah.
And when I stopped to talk to him, when I did my live with him last week, one of the things I didn't realize was I didn't realize one of the requirements typically, unless you can really prove that it's not a big deal, is they want you to have a hood. And it was interesting because in his case, because they didn't have the hood, the car didn't fully melt when it caught on fire, because at least the fire could escape and go
That's
somewhere.
right. Yeah. Because Maryland Motorworks is there was a whole group of them, right?
Yeah. There's the shop obviously is in Maryland, that's why it's Maryland Motorworks, and they do a little bit of everything, but it sounds like they specialize more so in like alignment and suspension and stuff like that. And they had just pulled this car like fully together for the event, and I don't even remember. Oh, I know what it was. When I posted about it, there's also MMW Drift, which is a spinoff of that. And then the guy who runs that, his name is Rob. River was the one driving when it finally caught on fire. They had lost third gear earlier in the day, but they were still running it.
Jeez.
And yeah, exactly. and Rob was basically just like, you give these little fuckers an inch and they take a mile. And just like
that's so funny. I met and I don't remember their names, but I was kind of hanging out under the carport for tech and talking to everybody that was coming in, whether I knew them or not. And there was two guys from Maryland Motorworks that I was talking to that I never met before that were super cool.
It might have been Joseph, and I cannot remember the other gentleman that was with him. I know his wife's name's Rebecca, but I can't remember his name.
Yeah, there was this IS 300 that pulled up, probably maybe not with them, I don't know, this was later, and it had the freaking I'm losing my mind right now, I can't think.
You've had like a long 2
when
weeks.
When you're burping the coolant,
it's still having the funnel still
and he was still burping it as it was pulling up, and it was like all kinds of colors in there that it shouldn't have been, and I was like, what is going on right now? Like, it's
hard to tell.
Yeah, he probably should have waited till the next day to do tech.
Right?
I'm like,
I mean, I feel like you never really know what you're gonna see like the day of everything.
No, I know. I love that though, honestly,
Juliana said Kathleen at registration table is the motorsports director there, and Lee is her husband. So that's the family dynamic there.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good. Just way too cold, that poor guy.
So everybody came in Friday.
Yep.
And then we all hit the ground running on Saturday. How did Saturday go for everyone? Because my Saturday didn't go well, but you guys seem like it went better than mine.
I mean, my Saturday went pretty smooth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't get your hot lap sticker till like Sunday though, right?
So
hold on.
I had a hot lap sticker from the one time I went there like 2 seasons ago, but I took my stickers off my windshields every season because Club Loose, you get a new sticker every time you go to an event. So like they're kind of particular about taking stickers off. So I clear my windshield basically at the end of every season. I never thought to hold on to my hot lap sticker for that reason.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, once I got teched for tandems, I was like, well, if I can tandem, why can't I hot lap?
Yeah.
So in my mind, I was like, that should just clear me. But I had to prove myself again and get my hot lap sticker.
But you did it, so.
Oh yeah, I did it. I just didn't.
Well, it was getting their attention was the problem.
Right. It wasn't like I was turning laps on Washington like consistently, but it was like having the one guy that was watching everybody. Right. I think finally the older gentleman who was running grid actually vouched for me and was like, no, she's been doing fine. Like give her her sticker so she can
So she only had to do like one more out of like 4 laps because she kept lapping, waiting for this guy.
Right.
He was like nowhere to be found. I think I saw him like once.
Yeah.
So I was going to get in Jenny the drift boat, and he's, Brandon's been like turning laps. So you don't see him spin out ever. He goes, I want to do hot laps. Hold on. I think I just got to talk to this guy to get a sticker. So he goes to talk to the guy. The guy's like, I have to see you do laps. I'm like, show me your Instagram.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't even get to hop in with Brandon. I sent him a message like late in the day on Sunday after I had like passengered with a bunch of people. And what was it? I messaged him, but when I drove past him, it looked like he was packing up. And then sure enough, like
Wow.
40 minutes later, he's like, I am so sorry. He's like, next time though, I promise.
Yeah. It was super fun sitting in the back of that thing. There was no good way to get a video in that boat, though.
Oh, I can imagine.
Crazy.
I only ended up getting video of him, I think, once, like even like out and about, just being on the different tracks. That was the hardest part, I think, about both days was just the simple fact that most of the people like I normally would have like caught videos or photos of, I didn't see them.
I know.
I eventually kind of caught them later, or I might have run past them like when they were on their way somewhere else. But while I was on the different tracks.
Yeah, that's the good and bad of DOD, right? Is like there's so
there's
many
so
layouts.
many people.
So many people, so many layouts. And you just like end up passing each other. You're like, oh, I want to hop in your car and be like, cool, come find me. And you're already in someone else's car or somebody else is in your car. And like, you just, you never catch up to each other.
Well, I played phone tag with, Sugar, I've now forgotten his name.
Sorry.
I played phone tag with him because he's like, hey, I want to get some content, while we're there. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I would send him a message on Instagram. I would do something. It would take him a while to respond. By the time he responded, I was in the middle of the next something. And I'm like, damn it, this should not be this difficult.
I know.
I never connected with him at all.
I think you're the one who said that, like, next time your idea was to put air tags in people's cars so that you could follow them around the track.
You should.
So you would know where they are.
Start tagging people.
At the driver's meeting.
Wonderful idea.
It is. At the driver's meeting, just go, you get a tag, and you get a tag, and you get a tag.
And then you just know where they are at all times, like where you need to go to shoot.
Exactly.
And then you collect your tags.
Laurent said creepy.
Yeah, I mean, but it gets the shots.
Yeah.
Well, Madison said that their weekend kind of fell apart. So Madison and Juliana were together. If I remember correctly, Juliana, they went to fix something on her car and ended up putting a screw through the fuel tank.
I think
it was.
Too.
And then Brian said hopefully they'll have more. Hopefully next year we'll have more instructors.
I guess for like Washington.
Yeah. So that way there's more people paying attention than just one person being responsible.
It wasn't like a deal breaker. Like it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. It just took a minute.
Yeah.
So what was really, really good and really interesting is that so my friend Ryan, has a lot to do with like Drift Nirvana and Summit Point as a whole. And he said there was 89 first-time DOD drivers this year.
Awesome.
89. And because of that, and them not knowing the tracks and, all different level horsepower of cars, he talked the track into opening Potomac, the skid pad.
Right.
Which is, in the military training section of the track, which they never open up. And that was amazing that they opened that up on Saturday. And a lot of people
never made it over there.
Oh, that's where we started.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I never made it over there.
Yeah, so it was only Saturday they opened that up, the skid pad. Yep. It was good. It was wide open. It was good for people to get warmed up no matter what your skill level was.
I would have got my Saturday scaries out of the way.
Yeah.
Over there.
Yeah, it was there was a lot of gravel to get there. So it was a lot of dust and dirt and, a little bit of off-roading. But
right.
Once you got out there, though, it was good. It was definitely good. So he's going to try and talk them into for next year, both days opening up. Because that would definitely be where I would want to start at DOD. Like you said, Shar, go there, just get warmed up and be like, okay, now I'm going to go to Washington, and then step it up.
I started at Washington. I was like, at least I can get just my bearings together, at Washington. The only other thing I would say with so many new people, and me being one of them, for the first DOD, was if I didn't have somebody who had been there before to follow them around, I would have never found my way onto half those tracks.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Going over into
Jefferson.
Jefferson is a hike.
I would have been how do I get on? I felt okay, the lines got me where I needed to go.
Because
how do I get on?
Jefferson is completely confusing because when you split to go up you're like, you look like you're supposed to go left, but then you go right, and then you're in the parking lot, and you would probably think, where do I go from here? Like,
I would just have like a little bit more signage, like, okay, enter this way, you know?
Yes, right. Yeah, some cones or something like that to make sure you know, like, I'm on the right path.
Right.
And I'm not about to, I'm not about to like pull onto a hot track in the wrong way.
Yeah.
And Juliana said they have a map with registration, but it's still hard.
Yeah. So I saw the map and I was like, all right, it got me where I needed to go. But even still, to like get onto grid, I was like, huh.
Sure.
You question yourself, especially when there wasn't like lines for things.
Nothing.
Like, there was nobody on grid, and I was like, huh, am I supposed to be here?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. The nice thing too, though, especially with Drift Nirvana, like I reached out to, what is it? I think it was Vic, because one of the frustration points sometimes, like for me on the media side, is I can't find half the frickin' drivers later. Now, I have a decent chunk of drivers that I follow, and I can kind of find them, and they'll pop up on another media person. I'm like, oh, that's the person I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But I asked them if they would put like the driver's Instagram, or if it's a website, or, you know, if it's Facebook, whatever it is that they use the most.
Yeah.
And he's going to add that to like the 2025 like list of things to discuss on, you know, what they can probably do for next year.
Right.
So if we come across anything in this, like I can pass it on and say, hey, can, you know, here's the notes, here's the feedback. And then Maddie said that Ethan's car had them driving around parts the first day. And the funny thing about Ethan's car was I drove past Ethan, and it seemed like his battery was dead. His ended up being a fuse issue, but we got him jump started and at least moving at one point.
That was the one that they went to go get an alternator, right? Did they go get an alternator for it?
Yeah, it ended up being a fuse issue, if I remember correctly. And then Juliana, she said, she laughed and said they had a slight leak out the top of the tank. I was so satisfied with my weekend, I didn't even mind. Well, that's perfect.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. They all came up and bought some of the ignition, speed, and limiter collaboration mechanics gloves from me.
Oh, that's good. Did you guys end up selling out of those? Because I thought I heard that somewhere along the line.
Nope, didn't sell out of them. But it was really hard to connect with people because, you know, I'd be like out on track or whatever. I'm like, oh, I'll be right back. And then I get back and then they're not around, and like,
sure.
So
sure. That's understandable.
Yeah.
All right. Well, did you guys run into any issues at all, or was everything fairly smooth for the most part?
I mean, we were fairly smooth for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree to that too.
I was really surprised at how smooth it was, actually, just in general.
Yeah, even if somebody went off track, or, you know, even a car catching on fire, they cleared everything super quick.
Yeah,
agreed.
No, like there really wasn't any real downtime, no matter what happened.
Yeah, I had no complaints.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree to that. I definitely. Everywhere I landed, like there was an issue, like somewhere along the way. Like earlier, before the car caught on fire, the friction team collided. I had my cell phone, and I was following because I was waiting on Brian, because Brian had a radiator hose pop off. So while he was dealing with that and about to run somebody else as a passenger, I was like, well, screw it, I've got my cell phone with me, I'll go take some video. I hear the crunch, but I hadn't made it there yet. I was just like, come on, guys, we can do this. We're better at this.
Yeah.
I think they got Noah's car back on track, like at least for like a little while. I think Timmy's was just done. And I probably should do a live with them, because with the way the hot lap is set up, like there's a curve that they can take as part of it, or they can come straight out of it, so that they can leave if they want to, or if they want to cut in somewhere else. Well, one went one way and the other one went the other way, and then they managed to collide with each other in the process. That was how that happened.
So one went straight, one came around hot, and then right into him.
Yeah, sort of. It was funny because Noah came through the turn and was coming out this way, and I think about the time he came this way was when Timmy came this way. And they managed to collide kind of like head on. Let's see, what do we have here? Juliana says the gloves are sick. And Brian
Thank
says,
you.
"Dang it, I forgot mine." Brian, where did you
because
forget
I
them?
kept messaging Brian, and Brian wasn't checking his phone all day. So
That's normal for Brian.
yeah, I was also supposed to get a ride, and that didn't happen. So that's one of those. But to your point, like that's one of those things about DOD is it's very hard. If you don't get in someone's car right after the driver's meeting, good luck. Good luck to you.
Yeah, well, and so Sunday was when I passengered. I didn't passenger on Saturday. I had issues with the van. I spent $200 I didn't need to spend on a battery, only to find out Sunday morning, and thank God for Brian, only to find out Sunday morning that I had a wire that was arcing on my starter. So we got that figured out, and I didn't need the fucking battery, which really pissed me off because it's like, God, I spent $200 for nothing.
Yeah,
and but it was just like everything that could go wrong did go wrong on Saturday. Like it was kind of minimal, but it felt like a lot because it was like multiple things.
It was like inconvenient.
Yeah, exactly. And then it was like Saturday morning, I started on Maine because I've never shot Maine before. So I picked a spot and I was super excited about it. I'm taking my video and I'm like, why does this not look right in camera? But it was so cold, like I couldn't feel my fingers. And then the van wasn't starting. Like I would be able to jump it to get it to start, but I'd have to leave it running. And if I turned it off, then sometimes it would turn on and sometimes it wouldn't. And I was so frustrated and defeated by the time I was done with that. And everything I shot Saturday morning was just shit video. It was starting off blurry as the car was coming towards me because I was shooting really far out. And then as they got to a particular corner, came into focus, and it was like this much of the car that I got on the video. I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
Sunday was more redeeming, and kind of how I dealt with passengering was Shar and LaRon had just gotten back, or they were just getting done with lunch. And I'm like, so, hey, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And I was like, I see you guys. Don't leave me.
Yeah.
I was like, where do you see us from?
Yeah.
I was like, because I didn't see her. And I was like, is she in the trees? Like, where does she see me from?
She's in the tree. She's swinging down. She's going to swing right down into your window. Right into that passenger seat.
I had parked right by like the office building section for Shenandoah because I had passed Lewis on my way to go. I want to call him Ethan. I don't know if his name is Ethan, but whoever it was, I couldn't connect with. I was on my way to go find him because he was supposed to be in Dylan's group. And I ran past Lewis. And Lewis is like, oh, I'm going to go meet the guys over for, I think it was Hot Laps. Yeah, it was Hot Laps. I was like, well, fuck it. I was like, I'll follow you. I was like, just come grab me from Shenandoah. So I hopped in the car with him for like six laps, I think it was. Like we went through Bridge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we went through Bridge. We went through Hot Laps. Like it was great. I got some really good footage. That's the other thing. I have so much fucking footage at this point. Like I can't even get through all of it.
Yeah.
I already have two. I've already put one of Shar out. I've already got another one built that just needs to like go out into the ether.
Does it? Even just like the little bit that I record on like our Insta 360, I look at it and I'm like, my head explodes. And I'm like, I'm done.
I get it.
Yeah. If there's not an app to make it super easy, I just no.
Well, the hard part, or not even the hard part, but it's kind of the frustrating part is when you actually put it out on social media. My drift stuff really only goes on Instagram because it doesn't do anything on Facebook. TikTok likes to flag it for being dangerous.
What? But TikTok allows takeover kids, but drifting is dangerous.
Whatever, So
that's so good.
One of them got flagged, and I was just like, fuck it, I just won't post it there anymore. And then I had been posting so much to Instagram, I forgot I had a YouTube. So then I've just now started getting it all kind of posted over there, like everything I've built so far. But it's been interesting to see sometimes, like when a video will hit, like it hits really, really quickly. Like you can tell a lot of people see it all in one shot, and then it might get a lot of likes. Yeah. But I noticed it was like this week, everything has had like a slow build versus like that quick initial, like when we're like right out of an event. And I don't know if it's just because one, we're far enough away from it, or two, so much media hit for the same event that it's hard to filter it to the people that it needs to get to. Because like Shar's video is a prime example. It's a collaboration between me and Sam, And then of course, you know, and Shar in it as well too. So the first day I'm like, why does this feel like this is bombing? Because this
Yeah.
is usually one of my ones that would do really well because it's the stacked video.
Yep.
But then when I looked at it today, it's been a slow build versus that quick
Okay.
climb.
Yep.
So like yesterday, I'm looking at it going, have we hit 1,000 views yet? Because usually they get like 1,500 to 2,500, like somewhere in that range is my usual average.
Yep.
And then you're looking at like maybe 5% actual engagement, which is really freaking annoying considering it crosses that many people.
I don't understand it. Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, because like if you really look at it, sometimes like the one I posted today, interestingly enough, most of the people that were invited to collaborate haven't even seen the fact that I sent them the message yet.
Oh, okay.
But it's been at like 10% engagement. So for that view versus the likes, it's at about 10%, which is higher than usual, even though the people that are actually in it that would get the more engagement because of who they are, they haven't even accepted the collaboration portion yet. But it's so weird because sometimes you have to do the sound engineering because that's really what people like is the sound engineering. When you make it match the song and everything's cut.
That's
some people really it's a lot.
Lost.
It's a lot.
Listen, you're not talking to media people here.
Well, sound engineering is when you take a song and when you hear that beat, it switches to like another segment where
I've got
you know
an
like
app that does that for me.
Doesn't CapCut do that? I think
CapCut does that.
Yes and no. So CapCut will show you where the beats are.
Did you ever use Vids, VIDS?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that will match it up.
Okay. So what I usually do is I take like all the videos I shoot because most of my videos are only anywhere from like 30 to 60 seconds because you can only track so many cars at one time. Even when you have a tandem, once they get closer to you, you're only picking like 1 or 2 cars to look at.
Right.
And so they're usually on like 30 to 60 seconds. Well, 30 seconds is about the max of what anybody really wants to pay attention to when they come across the drift stuff. And sometimes 10 or 15 seconds is it.
Yeah, well, the Instagram algorithm though is starting to shift and like the longer 30-second plus content.
Yeah, I've done a blend between all of it.
Yeah.
Some of my better you know, engagement videos are usually the cars that are wrapped.
Yep.
So they look like the prospect even if they aren't. So if they're wrapped, they do like hearing the sound. So like if I can have the actual sound in, I prefer to do that over the sound engineering. But I almost sometimes get more engagement on the sound engineering because the segments are 2 seconds to 3 seconds at a time.
Okay.
Because it's in between. So it's like each beat is like that 2 to 3 seconds.
Do you think it's
something?
Do you think it's because it's viral? Like, is it a viral sound trend and that's why?
I don't know if it's so much the sound as it is the fact that it's a short snippet of information to view.
Okay.
So they only have to view 2 seconds and then they get to see something new. Like they even talk about like with like kids TV shows.
Yeah.
The one that does really well is Coco Melon, but if you watch it, the sections of the show are 2 seconds.
Okay.
So they're literally showing a new clip every 2 seconds, which is why it's so engaging for them to pay attention to.
So crazy.
Yeah,
and then they wonder why kids grow up with ADD. They're making cartoons with 2 seconds, like here, something else.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's it. That's the stimulating part.
Yeah.
Or the videos that'll pop up, like if I hit my explore, are the slow-mo.
Okay.
I can't do the 30-second slow-mo. Like my brain is just like it turns off after like 5 seconds. I'm like, are we done with the slow part? Like, are we doing something else?
Yeah.
I personally can't do it, but that's the popular thing apparently.
Okay.
All right, let me look at comments real quick because I started running my mouth. Let's see.
I got a taste of being media at PRI.
Did you?
because I was like, I didn't have any of my media guys there, and I was like, there's so much good stuff here. If I could film it, I could send it to Kyle, and Kyle could make things out of it and make it look cool. And so I videoed the shit out of that place. I have so many videos in my phone. It's ridiculous. So I just started bombing Kyle, texting him. I'm like forgetting it's Thursday and he's probably working, right? And I'm like, boom, 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 you know? And he's like, oh, this is so sick. And next thing you know, like there's a reel and it's collaborating with me. And I'm like, this looks like I know what I'm doing, but I didn't do this. All I did was walk around and go, I think Kyle will like this. I think Kyle could do something with this.
We'll have to ask Kyle later.
Yeah, there's one reel in particular that he made and collabed with me on that I filmed, and it was Heroa Manoa's car, FD car. And that one is like through the roof. The engagement is through the roof on it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, my most trending one, and it still gets attention, is not this Drift Nirvana event, but the one before when we had the older muscle cars.
Yeah.
The old iron slides is what they're utilizing.
Oh, yeah.
17,000 views on a video that when I put it together, I'm like, meh. Like when I put it together, I was like, should I even put this out there? Like, I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
And it's because of the concept. And that's the hard part with the social media part is what's really going to capture somebody's attention to where they pay attention to it, where they're going to share it, where they're going to like it. Like it's the one video I have that's like definitely like up here. And then the next one is one of those cars drifting at a different event for Kylie. I put one together that was just him at Capitol Raceway. And it was and it was the same way. It's because of what it is. It's different, which makes it more engaging than the typical car that they're used to looking at.
That car is massive, and Kylie just shreds the hell out of that thing.
He swings it like it's light.
I don't even know how anybody like tandems with that thing. You gotta give it some room.
With as long as it is,
big old girl got to swing around, you know.
All right, let's see. Maddie said, yeah, there was a nice gentleman who had an IS that had the standard fuse for a 240 that he wasn't using.
Oh,
Brian said, he said, I think I gave 20 ride-alongs. I believe that because every time I turned around, somebody was like standing at the car waiting. Like I got back at one point in time and there were like 4 people. And I'm like, are you guys waiting on Brian? And I'm like, I don't know where he is, but I'll go find him. He was walking the dogs.
Rookie numbers, Brian. You gotta pump those up. Those are rookie numbers. Just 20.
And then Juliana said, sadly, Noah spun it while Timmy skipped the bus stop, and then that makes the line faster.
Oh, okay.
But Brian said, I got you next time, Rachel.
Right.
And then he said, someone's building a 66 Mustang for the old iron slides.
Oh, that's sick. Oh, that's cool. Nice.
But yeah, so that it definitely, the media side of things is always weird for me. Like it even in the model photography side, it was nobody wanted to pay the photographer, the model, but everybody paid the makeup artist. And you know what I mean? And like with the drifting stuff, it's not like I don't make money off of it. Like the guys are good to me. Like they just kind of slide me money. Like I don't have a menu or price list on purpose for that very reason.
Yeah.
And if you're one of the cool kids, Shar gives you like all these really cool things and like these adorable stickers that have not made their way onto my van yet.
Little gift stuff.
My 21-year-old has already tried to steal my koozie. I would like you to know.
Well, I'll tell you, like, for PRI, you know, companies all put their stuff out, right? And I'm a big koozie person.
Okay.
And I made it my mission to find koozies. And I did. Hold on.
She's going to have a pile. That's great. Yeah, let's see, what'd she get? How many did you get? Let's count them.
Got this one.
Nice.
That's a long one.
Got a tractor pull one. Pull town.
I like the color.
I do like the color on that.
Oh, that color's good too.
Says like sweet.
Okay.
This one is steel and stock car aluminum.
Okay.
And then my favorite, because it is Deutschworks. And It slaps.
They think of everything anymore, don't they?
They do.
That's so funny.
I think I got all the koozies that they had at PRI.
Well, so all right, so Sunday was cold, or Saturday was cold. Sunday was way more redeeming. Even from a video perspective, I still don't love everything I shot that day, but I also made a rookie mistake was part of it. I made a couple of like setting changes to my camera before I left that weren't tested, and I think that was part of the problem. And every time I think I have something where I'm like, oh, I'm going to use a monopod, there's an issue, and I'm like, fuck this, and I throw it somewhere, and I'm back to handheld like this. And I'll go, we'll get what we get.
Whose idea was this?
Right, yeah. Exactly. Why do I like doing this? I don't remember anymore.
Yeah. That's kind of how I felt when I was working on my car and it was all rusted, and I was like, why do I do this?
I meant to say something about Doug never made it. Doug never made it. Doug's a drift car.
Doug's on, no, he's on jack stands. He is seized. He is crusty and rusty and old.
Yeah.
And just made the decision right before that I didn't want the car to break and then me be stuck in the pits trying to get off seized bolts that were still on the car, you know, attached to these broken parts. So I thought, let me just go enjoy this. Let me just go hang out with all my friends. Let me just get in everybody's cars and just party.
That's kind of how I felt on Sunday. That was how I felt on Sunday. I think that's why I passengered so much on Sunday. Yeah. It was just kind of like, you know what? At this point, fuck it. We're going to enjoy it and see what we get.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Ryan already, you know, offered, since we're good friends with him, we'll just load the car up in the trailer. After Christmas, I'm going to order all the parts to redo the whole car underneath. Everything's going to be new. Suspension, coilovers, everything. Subframe reinforced, strut towers reinforced, all the bushings, everything. I'm not fucking around. Like, it's full send.
Dave's getting,
I'm not doing this again.
Doug's getting a facelift.
Doug's getting a gender reassignment. Yeah.
I like it. Well, did somebody call him Fred? I feel like we were having a conversation somewhere, and I'm like, wait, who are we talking about?
Yeah, somebody called him something else, and I was like, oh no, that's his trailer park cousin. I'm like, he's still in the trailer park, and we haven't found him yet. Yeah.
I feel like somebody called him like Fred or Frank or something, and I'm like, that doesn't seem right.
One of those two. Yeah, and I was like, who?
Right.
It's like, who are we talking about?
Yeah, I think most of the people that I talked to, like everybody had an issue of some sort, but I almost feel like every time there's an event, there's a lot of that. Like something goes wrong. Sometimes they can fix it while they're there. Like I remember I went to go get more video on Maine, and I couldn't get video on Maine because like the cars that were at the top of the hill were turning around. I'm like, all right, something's happened on the track somewhere.
Yeah.
It ended up being, I found out Sunday, that was Saturday. I found out Sunday, it ended up being Cole. He lost fuel, if I remember correctly. Something happened with his fuel system. And I think he was coming down and went to hit the turn and landed in one of the walls. Like that particular car is just pretty much done at this point.
Is that the person that like not only hit the first tire wall, but hit the second tire wall, like went through?
I'm going to go with probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when he got turned around. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, because I didn't actually bump into him and Daniel until Sunday. Because I messaged him like, I know you guys are here because I drove past you once.
Yeah.
And normally they're people I see fairly often. And that's what I mean. It was just, there were so many people. Like I was driving past most of the drivers I knew, but I wasn't seeing them anywhere.
Yeah, because you're like, I don't know where they're going. Yeah.
Well, exactly. I tried to get Jefferson, you can't media from Jefferson. You have to be pretty much at Washington to get anything at Jefferson.
You do.
And there was one point where I was driving and I saw, I think it's Slida on Instagram. I think No Label is on the side of the car. And then Nate Chen was right behind him. And I'm like, oh, they're going to Jefferson. So I ran over to Washington like as quickly as I could because I was trying.
Oh, to get on the hill?
Yeah, I was trying to get over there as fast as I could so that like I could try to get some video from Washington of Jefferson, and I missed both of them.
Aww.
I was like, maybe they'll come back around. No,
yeah.
Wasn't that fortunate.
Yeah, it was all good though. It was definitely a great event, especially when it warmed up.
What did you guys like about it the most? What was the most enjoyable part?
I don't know. For me, it's the people. I get to see so many of my friends from all over, the United States that I don't get to see at one drift event at one time. And this is the one time of year where I get to see all of them at one event instead of me going to multiple events to try and, be able to hang out with
a lot of people,
all different people.
For sure.
Yeah. I definitely met a lot of new people and like got to like meet up with a lot of old friends too. Like you said that you don't see all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
I was also super impressed with the amount of seat time for the amount of drivers there is. Like, no matter what, especially if you were in the tandem line, like you didn't wait.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Ever.
That was wild. It wasn't as hectic as I expected.
That's fair. I think I can agree with that because I expected a little bit more chaos. Now it was a little chaotic sometimes in like the parking areas. Mm-hmm. Like there was one section where everybody was just so packed in where you go in to get to like Pistol and Bridge. Like there were a little too many people parked right in that corner for me.
The
like it was a little
corner.
Yeah, exactly. So like there was too much happening in that corner. Like it really shouldn't have been there. Like it should have been maybe pushed down like a little bit further because when some people were trying to get around that turn, you couldn't see beyond the cars.
I never even got down the Shenandoah at all the whole time.
At all?
Never. It was my favorite place.
Nope. Never got down there.
Everybody's so used to camping there that most of the normal people who would be there on like a yearly basis, like most of the events, that's where everybody parked for the most part.
Yeah.
Juliana, go ahead.
I was gonna say we also parked there just because it looked like it had the most space for the rig, and also this power hookup. I was like, oh, we've got a power hookup.
Oh, so
and it's not expensive for their power.
$75 for the 3 days.
Yeah, like that's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's cheaper than running our generator.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Well, it was funny when you came in. Brian thought you guys were chaos, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then as Saturday happened, I'm like, chaos isn't here. That had to have been Shar and LaRon, and sure enough, it was. But Juliana said, favorite track to drive, ride along, spectate. You guys go first.
So my favorite track to drive was probably Pistol and whatever the other you guys call the other
Shenandoah Bridge.
Yeah. So I liked both of them probably the most.
Okay.
And then like Washington was fun to like get closer driving with friends because everything else is so fast that it's almost like it's you're not really close tandeming. At least I'm not on those tracks. So like Washington was fun for that.
Yeah.
I don't typically ride along with anybody, so I can't answer that. I don't like being in other people's cars.
Sure.
And spectate, I really didn't spectate much of anything. Maine looked like a great time, I want to say.
Did you drive it at all?
So I tried it.
Okay.
I've got a little bit of beef with Maine. It was fun. I think next year I'm going to try it again.
Okay.
I always go to say like my gearing for a fast track like that just isn't there. So like I sit on that track, like I've got a 3.9. So I sit on that track and be like, okay, top end of second. But as soon as I go into third, I fall flat on my face. Okay. So like my gearing just wasn't there. I could initiate, I could do like the first turn, but then I couldn't carry it, but I'd go to third and it just wasn't enough.
Okay.
The answer would probably be to go faster, which is what everybody will be like, or like I should have aired my tires up a little bit, made it less grippy, maybe than I could have carried it through.
Okay.
I did try it though, so I'll give myself
give yourself credit for that for sure. Yeah. That's a big track, and
it is a big track.
That's definitely a high speed track.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
I ran that one twice. I ran it once with Gio and I ran it once with Ryan, and it was different because I've never been on it. Like it was fun, but sometimes I have to remember the fact that I have 2 cameras in my hand, and I'm
Oh,
so focused on that, like, sometimes
yeah.
I don't actually pay attention to the run. I'm just
Yeah.
making sure the cameras stay in place.
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And
Yeah.
then, Shar, for you, spectating, I could see where that doesn't happen as much because when you're not driving, you're taking a minute,
Yeah.
before you go back to driving again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
So I could see
sense.
that.
I usually do spectate a little bit at first, and this is going to sound terrible. Before I go out onto any track,
Uh-huh.
I go and I watch until somebody fucks up, and then I go drive because then I'm not the first person to fuck up. I'm like, okay, somebody else fucked up. Like now I can be done.
Now we're good.
Every time. Yeah. I wait until like somebody spins or goes off track. And I was like, all right, well, now I'm not going to be the first one to dirt drop and I'm not going to be the first one to spin. So we can go.
Yeah.
Laron said
Nice.
high speed, low angle.
Oh, for Maine. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. How about you, Rachel?
So obviously didn't drive, so I can't answer
Right.
the drive part of things. Although I would probably say if I did drive, for me, being new at the car, Washington would have been my favorite.
Sure.
My favorite track to ride along on was Maine for sure.
Okay.
And I did spectate. I spectated up at Washington and in the hot lap section. So like both sides. I kind of like stood in the middle and watched both while we were waiting for like cars to cool down and before we went back out again.
Right.
So
Okay.
I don't know if I missed one of the things, but like
it was drive, ride along, spectate.
Okay. All right, good.
You covered.
Good. I was like, I feel like there's a fourth one in there.
Well, so I don't know. It's tough to pick like a favorite track for ride along. And I think for me, the reason for that is my ride along preference is anybody who can tandem.
Yeah.
Because for
definitely.
me, from the video and media perspective, even like Shar's footage, I had a camera on the back of her car on Laron. I had a camera facing her, and actually I have to use my other hand. It was so backwards being on the driver's side trying to take video
that's
when I'm
right.
used to being on the passenger side. I'm like, I don't know how to do this. My brain was like, you'll figure it out. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to having my cell phone, and I have it just like this in my hand. Like I literally have it like that so that I can put it out the window to where like just this portion's out the window, and then I can come back to the driver, I can come back to the windshield, and I'm like, can I do that from this hand? Like I'm like, will my body do that? Okay. Well, and in Shar's car, her stickers are all in front of my face because they're not in front of her face. So if I had the camera here, I had to go here so that I could get around the stickers to get her windshield. And then I'm like, oh, Laron's going to be, on this turn, because then you have to think the opposite too.
Yeah.
I know which way, if we're turning, I'm going to get to see the car.
Yeah.
And I missed him on the first one. I went, oh, fuck, he's going to be over here now.
Yeah.
It was a learning experience.
A quick one too.
Exactly. But when you don't have somebody in the front or in the rear, it almost makes for a little bit of a boring video unless you have the driver's perspective. If you have like the driver, what the driver's doing, and then what they can see, that's not quite so bad. But all the, the outside person is looking at is whatever was in front of the driver, which is just the road.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not necessarily having a favorite track so much as I want to hop in with somebody who's going to be able to run with other people. That was one of the reasons I had such a good time with Lewis. Is Lewis wants to tandem with everybody. He's like, all right, I'm in, all right, well, let's do this.
He's a shredder too. He was having having troubles with his GTO at first, but I'm glad that he got it sorted out and was able to have a good time.
Well, and then by the time I got to him, he had to leave by like 1 or something. And I think we got about 6 runs in. Like we went through bridge and then we went through hot laps. And what was it? Oh, when we went through hot laps, he had a tire almost fully come off the rim. Like it started popping off.
Yeah.
Thankfully, there was somebody who had, one of his friends had air like down at the other end of Washington, and he got the tire back on so we get back to Maine. Because that's another thing.
Yeah.
When they do like Shenandoah being the track that maybe we're going to be on for the day, everybody's car is right there.
I
So their
know.
trailers are right there and their tools are right there. Well, when you're over on this track
It's
and
bad.
all your stuff's over here.
Yeah, we had that happen too, you know, blow out the tires and then have to ride on the wheel all the way back to Maine from Washington. And the car was going like this the whole time. You're going down, you're like, can't do anything. We got redneck hydraulics going on. It's fine.
Exactly. Exactly.
Sorry, we're going like 8 miles an hour, but that's all we got.
Right. Well, so spectate for me would be shoot. So right along wise, like any of it's fine. I almost kind of like bridge the most, and I think partially because of the carousel, it gives that little bit of a difference.
Is that the 2-level, multi-level?
Yeah, they call it the carousel.
Carousel. Okay.
And they run that both directions.
Oh,
so they have sometimes where you come in from the other side. I think they only ran it the one direction for DOD. I don't think usually they run it in reverse. So they start from the other side of it, so then you hit the carousel from the other end versus that entry that they kept doing all weekend. And pistol grip's fun. I don't know that it's my favorite. It seems to be a fan favorite to drive, but passengering it's like meh.
I kept hearing pistol, pistol, pistol. Let's go over to pistol. That's all I kept hearing. And I was like, pistol must be good.
It's got like elevation changes to it.
Yeah.
Out the run.
Okay. Like Jefferson, you mean?
So almost like Jefferson, except Jefferson's just so fucking fast to get up to the top and then like come back down.
Whereas, yes. You have to be like fourth gear almost up that before you go the blind corner.
Yeah. So pistol wasn't like that. Pistol was like a short run up to even start. And then by the time you get to the elevation changes, it was just like another straight run up. But it just like flowed a little bit. I don't know.
Better. Yeah.
No, it makes sense.
Jefferson had a lot of long straights like you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you
everybody
have the power, then that's great. Like if you
get,
but if you don't the wheel speed and the power, then you're not worried about it.
Well,
it's a sketchy ride.
Yeah.
I would say that Jefferson was where probably most of what you would consider more of the pro drivers or the ones that have like a lot of time under their belt spend a lot of time because not a lot of people were on it.
Right.
So they were just zipping through it just over and over again because they could.
Yeah. It was an empty line. Definitely agree.
Yeah,
if there was like 4 cars at any time, that was a lot.
Yeah.
That's fair. Well, and one of the things that I didn't realize because like I said, sometimes how most of the events have been set up prior was there's a really good spot that I could technically sit to get video from Pistol Grip that I didn't realize that I actually had access to. So I drove past that a couple of times where people were just kind of set up, but it gives you a couple of, decent spots to get like a longer run of Pistol Grip.
Yeah.
Okay.
But from a spectator point of view, I mean, Maine was a pretty big, wide open, like you could watch a really long run and just watch a car for a decent amount of time. So I would say that Maine would probably be my spectator one just because there's a lot of really good spots to get in just to really watch a car run through the whole thing almost.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, I can see that.
Good question, Juliana. What else you guys got? Now, is there anything you guys would do differently if you came back for next year?
Have my car.
Oh.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's going to be there.
I'm hoping by next year that I have a little bit more confidence myself to drive with more people.
Okay.
Like with others.
I gotcha.
And that's I don't think that's a skill thing. I think it's more of a confidence thing on my end.
That's fair.
It's like saying that I know I can. I just have to build up the confidence to like be confident in doing it when it happens.
When we went out for hot laps, you made a statement and like I understood it, but I would love to hear like your statement behind it. You said it got rowdy. Was that your tires you were referring to or the guys?
So a little bit of both. So I knew it was going to get rowdy because whenever I call him Doors, but it's Chris DeBoard.
Yeah, he comes.
So whenever Chris gets excited about something,
oh my god, When he gets excited, the throttle goes down even harder.
And so when he's pointing out and he's like, all right, I'm going to go first. He's going to go second. You're going to go third. LaRon's going to go fourth.
I saw that. He was like, and I was like, is he having like is he mad? Like,
he's done this to me before at other events. Like when we did the Wall Stadium event thing, he arranged like a 6-car tandem and put me like right in the middle. And he was like, and this is what we're going to do. And I'm like, okay, like we're going to do it. So I know with like them, things get like rowdy, but like in a controlled way. Like I trust it. Like I trust her.
Sure.
And then like my tires, as they got hot, got a little bit more slick. And then everything started to get just a little bit more wide. And then just a little bit more dirt. And just it was a good time.
So Chris and Mitch are like their own vibe, and I love it. Like they have these personalities that are just like, they're such a vibe. It's just, you can't help but love them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And if Chris tells me, hey, you're going to be car number 4 out of 7, then I'm going to be car number 4 out of 7.
Just do it.
That's just how it goes. Sometimes I have to be forced into like those uncomfortable situations.
Yeah.
Right. I need the pressure. Like I said, I can do it. I just need confidence and the pressure to be like, you can do this. Like,
oh fuck, I'm number 4. Okay.
Right. Like,
okay, I'm number 4. This is good.
Why is LaRon shouting doors?
Because that's what he calls Chris. Because the first time we met Chris, where were we? Tandem Nights, I think. And Chris came up to us after the track had gone cold, and he's like, tomorrow I'm getting your doors. And like LaRon and I have never met this guy before. And we're like, no, don't touch our doors, please. Like,
we like our doors.
Yeah. And then I was like, I'm not going to drive with him. And then I think the next time, so like I spent all day the next day anxious in line that like he would get behind me.
Oh no.
I'd have to run with him. And then I think the next time I saw him was at Hyperfest. And like I came down the hill and all of a sudden he was behind me. And I was like, oh fuck, here we go. And it's like Hyperfest, like, and we're flying.
Uh-huh.
I would just been like put my car into like limp mode, like it died. Like, oh, my car broke.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was going along. I don't know what happened.
It's one of those like we listen and we don't judge. I'm gonna understand.
Oh yeah, that's great. All right. Brian said, little secret, if you can come down for a Drift Nirvana Drift 101, you get Washington hot lap almost to yourself, so tons of seat time. And then Juliana said, sometimes there's even a Washington 2-day event. That's fair.
Nice.
Does anyone know, does Summit Point, like, so I'm in Connecticut, it's winter up here. We don't have tracks. They're closed till like March, April. But does Summit Point stay open? Like, do they do this like Drift 101 in what I call the winter? Like, it's winter now.
I can look it up and tell you.
I don't know.
Chat amongst
So I know like Maryland is, and I don't know which track in Maryland off the top of my head, but I know they're doing like, they don't stop. They just
a winter series.
Yeah, they just keep going.
Yeah, they're doing a winter series, and that's new for this year.
Yeah,
it's the first time they're like allowing drifting there,
and it's stupid cheap too.
Yeah, it's really cheap. Well, that's like Capital too. I'm sure Capital doesn't have an off season.
I was wondering if
I don't think Capital does, but it's new for Capital too, so they're still learning kind of along the way. Brian said no, they close until April, I think, and LaRon said I think it's March start.
Yeah,
so it's like the same as up here, March, April.
I was gonna say, even like our home track right now, you can only do like private days. Like it's open for private days at English.
Yeah, so Drift Nirvana, it looks like, oh no, that's 2024. 2024, they had an April event. So it looks like it's April.
Okay.
I'm trying to look at the schedule. It looks like
I guess because Maryland, because I saw the Maryland schedule, right? What you're saying is
and they said
so I was like, oh, maybe Virginia
have to cancel their first event because of low attendance. Like they didn't get enough pre-registered.
Yeah. Well, and so something like Capital though, they also do the drag strip. So they do, even LaRon said, like a lot of test and tune, and they can do different things, but they have the 2 separate spaces.
Right.
And they're still deciding what they're going to do with the actual drifting stuff. I think that's going to get a little bit bigger as time goes on. Because they had an event last weekend. They had an event Saturday, which I probably would have gone to, but I had a rejection sticker on my van for the event when we were there because I had to get the lower control arm replaced. And shout out to my bestie Jim for the fact that he has a garage that we could do the work in. And I should say he did the work and I handed him tools when he asked me to.
That's super important though. Super important job, you know, really is.
So I had to get the van fixed on Saturday. I had a couple of things I had to get done. And I probably would have gone, but I know he said something to me about he wants to work out a like a New Year's Eve drift or something like that. Something for the new year.
Dude, that'd be sick.
Yeah, so I haven't seen anything come across. He sent me the one for the 14th so like I could push it out, but I haven't seen anything actually come across for the New Year's one yet.
I need an off season.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with having
every
downtime.
time I say I'm like, oh, we're gonna take an off season, like we're gonna take some time. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, but here's a new event. Like even like last weekend, I thought DOD was gonna be like our closer for the season. Like, okay,
yeah.
And then last weekend, Englishtown Raceway Park put together something with like one of our local car show people, and I was like, well, Lauren's like, well, I guess we're going, and I'm like, I guess so.
One more time.
Yeah.
Englishtown is on my list for next year.
Yeah.
They're on my list for next year to check out.
You're gonna be hitting some new tracks next year.
That's my plan. Rachel's given me a whole plan. So I'm going to road trip and just like bug her and probably drag her with me.
Yeah. So I was like, if you come to Lebanon Valley on a Friday in New York, and then it will piggyback off of like Lock City at Thompson on Saturday. So you can get Friday, Saturday, you can get 2 different areas.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Are not too far from each other.
Yeah, that works out well.
Yeah.
Brian said my new shirt will be Wrench Princess.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And my
socket. Could be socket sister.
There you go.
That sounds really sexual.
That's fair. It's probably not the first idea we've ever come up with that would be.
Right.
Brian, do I put professional in front of Wrench like I do with Passenger Princess, or is it just Wrench Princess? Just, for clarification. Does anybody else have any questions? We're at the hour mark, so I usually ask if there's any more. Juliana says she enjoys an off season to recover as well.
I want to make my car pretty again. Like I lost I've destroyed the bumper. I usually start the season with like fresh aero. I destroyed the rear bumper.
Okay.
And then like I'm going to fiberglass together most of my side skirts, like if there's little cracks, and then refiberglass like my front bumper. My back bumper has taken a beating. So like I want to be able to like redo my aero and then respray it and re-livery like the parts that need to be redone.
Right.
Like make it pretty for like a fresh start. There's like goals for next season that the car needs to be like pretty.
I gotcha. Okay, well, I mean that you actually bring up a really good not concept, but goals. That was on my list of questions. Was what are some of like the big goals that like both of you might want? Being that you've chosen to live in this world, whether it's hobby or more than hobby, and then are there like some short-term goals that like you guys will think that you're going to strive for next year?
Rachel, do you have yours figured out?
Well, one is the car will drive. That's one.
I mean, I think that's a great goal. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I have 0 seat time in this car. And prior to this, I only have 2 skid pad events, 3 skid pad events actually in 2 different cars.
Okay.
Which are not BMWs. So I'm very, seat time is huge, right? And then being able to start off with like linking a turn, right? And then linking 2 turns and like slow progression. And I made a super rookie mistake at the end of last year, going to Lebanon Valley, which I've never drifted, and I like the throttle.
Okay.
And I was full speed down the front straight, and I didn't know that Lebanon Valley has this like in 2 spots it has these dips, but this one particular spot, if you come out a little too wide and you hit that dip, it actually pulls you right into the K rail. And there's
Okay.
no like it doesn't matter what you do, you will not avoid it. It will suck you in like a magnet and you're done. And
Okay.
that was me. That was me. Lap 1.5 into the K rail.
I call Lebanon House of Destruction.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's rowdy.
There's parts of that track, and I've seen cars, like I've seen a Miata hit that K rail and go onto its roof. Like there's parts of that, and it's just a lot. You know what I mean?
And it both sections where people really destroy themselves in their cars both have that bump.
Mm-hmm.
So when you first come around the corner, so like you enter off of grid and you take that first turn, second turn, third turn.
Yeah.
When you're coming around to go down the front straight, there's a big fucking dip. And if you hit that dip and you're trying to initiate, it'll suck you into the K rail.
Yeah.
K rail on the left. And then if you just keep going straight and then you go to hook that first turn, you hit the bump that I hit, you go right into the K rail over there head on though. So yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't feel bad, right? Because right after I did that and drove it off track, somebody destroyed their S14 into the other K rail. Yeah. So I was like, wow, I'm a little bit of a jerk, but
House of Destruction, that place.
Yeah. Yeah.
LaRon apparently thinks that your t-shirt should be Queen of the Dirt Drop.
It should be. It's it is. It's consistent. It's the most consistent thing about my driving.
It's okay. You're finding
There's no
the
judgment
line
here. There's no judgment here.
Just finding the line, that's all.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, so going to new tracks, right? Figuring them out, just linking the turns and not getting like a big head on my shoulders. Like I need to feel out the track first based on what happened at Lebanon. I can't do that. I need to go to a track. I need to ease into it. I need to feel the track, right? And then start to link the turns on whatever the track is and like take it easy on myself a little bit.
Okay.
You know?
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's hard to do. I always say that too. I always go to even like new tracks, like Fuel Fest, for example, not Fuel Fest, Hyperfest. My first time on that course, and I was like, you know what? Laron's like, just do a sight lap. So I'm like, okay,
I believe in that. Yeah.
I pull out of the grid. There's a car coming down the hill. So I'm like, well, now my anxiety gets all, you know.
You're gonna go.
I just go. And I was like, I've never been on this track before. So like I dirt dropped in like this perfect corner and blew apart my work wheel on what was supposed to be a sight lap.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like I limped it all the way back off. And he was like, what happened to your sight lap? I was like, there was cars behind me.
Had to go.
You had to go.
Gotta go. Sometimes you just gotta go. And that'll happen. I'm sure that'll happen to me too.
It's really just taking, and that's usually when we do like our girls' days and like we're instructing a little bit. It's really just taking one turn at a time. I'm like, don't worry about the whole track as a whole. Like,
no.
If you're afraid of like E-Town's entry is pretty fast and it can be intimidating.
Yeah.
Like, just drive through it. Initiate at the top of the hill. And then straighten out, take your next turn, feel what your car feels like.
And then start to do a little more. Yeah, I agree.
You don't have to piece it all together like right up front.
Yeah, but a lot of people think they do.
Right. It's a head game for girls.
It is. Yeah.
Brian wants to know, are there any plans to have a ladies drift day? He says, I've seen them in Cali. I know, I think I have 2 that follow me that are in Florida.
Yeah.
So Drift Kitchen is up here.
Right. So Drift Kitchen, now DK Ladies League.
Yeah.
That's what LaRon said.
They usually do like Lock City, and then we have a huge one in Englishtown.
Yeah.
I know there was talks last time I was at Capitol. I spoke to a couple of the girls there who were like picking my brain about like a girls' day there. Just because the way their capital set up, it would be nice because it's like they can do like the skid pad aspect of it and not have to worry about going off track.
Yeah.
But yeah, the girls' support's definitely there, no matter where you go. I feel like because now they're popping up all over the place. Like Drift Indy in Ohio has a great girls' day. I would love to get out to California to like one of the years. The Sparkle Nation or Motion.
Sparkle Drift Motion or Sparkle like Motion that. Drift. Yeah.
Out there. It's really cool to see it popping up. I think Piedmont just had one last weekend, like down there. So
I know I saw one. I didn't know where it was, but I know I just saw one on in my reels that people were sharing. Yeah, it looked really good.
It's fun.
Shar made Driven Luck do a girls' day.
Driven Luck, yeah. Last time we were there, they had like they talked about it and they put a girls' day together. It was really
okay.
They're out there.
Well, I guess I would have to wonder, like even like out this way with something like Summit Point, with doing a girls' day, it has to be based on whatever group is going to try to rent the space, correct?
So I would assume
Juliana's right though. Capital would be a great ladies' day because it's so low entry.
I also feel that Summit, although it would be great, I don't know what the overhang is to like rent out Summit.
Oh, the overhead, yeah.
So like, and how many drivers do you have to get to like cover that?
Yeah.
And the insurance aspect of it. Like the big places like that typically are pretty expensive to like get insurance and to rent and and then you have to cover the driver's costs. It would kind of be hard, I feel like. There.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And Juliana's right, though. Capital would be a really good spot for it. Like, I mean, even I could host it. You know what I mean? Like, I could say, hey, we're going to do a ladies' day and then just talk to Capital about it. Because I don't think with Capital, you have to put money up front. I think it's more so just everybody pays to come in, whether they're spectator or driver.
I forget what his going thing is. It's almost like a private day. And then you can just fill in and everything's covered under like their insurance, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll put that together then for next year.
I think it would be great.
I think we should look at that.
Yeah, because there's a lot of newer, and not even just newer female drifters, but they're intimidated by showing up to a track with like loaded with dudes, you know?
Sure.
Especially if it's their first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and I get that because when I used to ride a motorcycle, I usually rode with men. There weren't a lot of women that were riding with us, but there's always that thing in the back of your mind, like, you know, they're watching you.
Yeah, like and extra hard.
And it's like, it's almost like you feel like they're watching you because they're waiting for you to fuck up so they can give you shit.
Right.
And then like they're trying extra hard not to give them any ammunition to give you shit.
Which is crazy in drifting because it was almost like the opposite. Like I felt that way at first.
Sure.
But then, like after like meeting the guys, like it was nothing like that. Like nobody was waiting for you.
It's like
wanted you to do well.
And everybody's so supportive. Everybody's so supportive.
Yeah. Nobody cares if you fuck up. Nobody cares.
And that's what I mean. And I'm watching like other more advanced people fuck up. And I'm like, okay, if they fuck up, then it's okay that I'm fucking up. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's how I justify it to myself.
Yeah.
Right.
But like we go out there and I'm always like, I want to be good so bad. You know what I mean? That you're like, the minute you fuck up or you drop a tire or you spin, you're like, huh. But then you're like, oh, wait, I just saw a whole video of like pro drive. You know what I mean? Like
pro drivers are really, exactly. It doesn't matter.
We're harder on ourselves than others are.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Oh, that's absolutely fair. That's absolutely fair.
Yeah,
I agree.
Now, I will say when it came to my motorcycle friends, the only reason I felt that way is because that was already the way it was, you know, because if you're one of the guys, which I have a tendency to be, just because I don't give a shit about most things, so I usually am like one of the guys. You know, they're going to treat you like one of the guys in that situation sometimes. So, but there's always that thing in the back of your mind, like you really feel like everybody's just paying attention to you like extra hard. Yeah. So I could see how that would be like if a female's getting into it versus having a little bit of time under their belt.
Yeah.
Where an event like that would be less intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if they show up alone and they don't know anybody.
Yeah.
and it's their first time. So it's like all these things, all these variables, like they're sort of working against them to just show up to a regular event.
I think there's an assumption too, because it happens to me even doing the media. I think there's always an assumption that if you're a female at an event like that, you're there with a guy that does the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Which isn't always accurate.
No.
Right.
Maybe 80% of the time it is, or 90% of the time it is, but because I can't tell you how often somebody goes, "Oh, so who are you here with?" And I'm like, "Myself?
Me?
Is that okay?"
Yeah.
Like, I like being here, I promise.
Yeah.
So I think that has a little bit to do with it too, because there's always an assumption like you are going to be with other people as opposed to just showing up to something by yourself.
Yep.
But Shar, back to you. What are goals for you and Laurent this year?
I think we're gonna try and travel further west for events this year.
Okay. Oh, look, Ignition Speed is joining us. Who do we have? We have Jay.
What is up?
Oh, who let him on?
Sorry for the bad lighting. I'm in Colin's car on the way home from the shop, so I apologize.
Are you in the Miata?
How's that? We're in the SUV.
Oh, gotcha.
That's better. How about that? What is up?
I don't know.
He sent me a message. He's like, "Did I miss the live? I can't find it. I don't see it in the story." And I was like, "You just want to join us? Here you go."
Yeah, she just gave me the link. Let's go.
Welcome. How was your DOD experience?
By the way, my phone was blowing up with Ignition Speed family chat, and I didn't touch it once, so I don't know what was going on.
Colin was doing, what were you doing? Modeling. He was modeling for us.
Oh. All right.
Oh, well, you're gonna have to send that to me.
So I did not miss anything, is what you're saying.
You didn't miss anything. No.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Just a lot of comedy.
Oh, okay. I'll check it out later.
I was gonna say you'll get to laugh later. Apparently.
I will. Yeah. How was DOD, Jay? Dawn wants to know how DOD was. That's what we're talking about.
It was fantastic. It was everything that it always is, which is great friends and great driving, super experience. I got to drift with my son for the first time.
Yeah.
2 separate cars instead of sharing the same car, so that was a blast.
Sure.
Having the whole, hey, watch where you're going. Colin, driving us off the road.
Colin, you're not in the live, okay?
This is why we can't have nice things.
This is why.
That's exactly it.
Kids these days.
We had the whole team there. We had all the homies from Late Notice. I'm sure you guys probably talked all about this already, but having all the people from up our way come down and it's just
massive
vibe.
Group.
And then Ryan, his whole crew just always makes us feel so welcome, as does everybody at the whole crew. So it's awesome. It's my favorite of the year.
I think we had like 4 or 5 rows of pits covered on Main.
Yeah, you did. You had at least 4.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah,
I was like, how far does this stretch?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, obviously the weather was a little bit chilly on Saturday, but really good on Sunday, which seems to be the norm for that event. There's just
that his phone
runs. It just any issues,
Because he's running on mobile data.
Yeah.
So you guys have been on for a while, so I don't want to recap anything.
Well, you're welcome to hang out. We were talking.
Yeah.
We were talking to Shar. She was filling us in on what their goals are for this year.
For 2025?
Yeah.
Let's go.
So Shar says that they're gonna try going out west a little bit more. So what's the plan?
I also hope to try and get more comfortable competing.
Okay.
Which ties in with that driving with other people, getting the confidence to drive with other people besides Laurent. Go out west a little bit more. And I think my main goal would be trying to get into finaled out.
Yeah.
I want my car to be pretty. So we are probably about a team of 3 at this point, which is me, Laurent, and our friend Dan with the 180. He's got a blue 180. You may have, John, I don't know if you've ever met him.
I don't think so.
It says Upstore up the side of it.
I've seen it, but I've never met him.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like I've seen the car maybe on social media, but I don't know that I've been in an event where it's been.
Yeah, so he does like we did like tandem nights together. We did DoryCon together.
Oh, I was at DoryCon. That's why it sounds familiar.
Right.
Yeah, I was there for that.
He was with us for that. So we would love to at least try for Final Bout this year.
Okay.
So that's a goal. Yeah, we're doing Drift. We are right now tentatively doing Drift Week 10, which is going to be in April.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to look at like the list of things that keep coming through my social media and like really map out my year on where I'm going to land.
It's coming in fast. People are dropping like their 2025 schedules, and I'm like, I'm not mentally or financially prepared for this. Especially as we talk about traveling further west, like everything, like Drift Week turns into like a 3.5 week trip. Because the first track I hear is going to be Villains, which is a 4-day drive from us.
Yeah, Laurent just said 30 days straight on the road.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
Now, how do you guys manage the travel time? Because you have a full-time job, correct? Does he as well too? So like you guys both have full-time jobs and then you have to be on the road. Is there any remote work for you guys, or how does that work?
Not so much. And actually both of us work in a status where like, so I work per diem.
Okay.
But I work full-time plus overtime hours. Like it's just a need.
Okay.
So what I do is I just tell my job that I'm not available for 3 weeks.
Okay.
But
okay.
I won't get paid for those 3 weeks.
I'd like to tell my job I'm not available.
So that's why I went per diem, because it gives me that flexibility.
Sure.
So it gave me like a work-life balance with like nursing and life.
Sure.
So, but for those like 3.5 weeks, I won't get a paycheck. Like if I don't work, I don't get paid. And Laurent's the same way. So he's a longshoreman. He works at the ports.
Okay.
So he can request the time off, but at the same time, the days that he's off, he also does not get paid.
Okay.
Okay.
But they're usually pretty flexible with them. So like it's not getting the time off. It's like financially preparing for that month of no income on top of the money you're going to be spending on the trip.
That makes sense.
But that's why we're able to travel, because like we both have the flexibility in our schedules. I have to work 1 weekend a month. So usually I can just make that work.
Okay. Yeah, so I know like even for me, so I work from home. So because of that and because of the type of work that I do, I can work from anywhere. So like if I really do want to go to Georgia for caffeine and octane, I can work. It's not a big deal as long as I have my laptop and I got internet. I'm good to go. So it's not that big a deal.
So like currently they asked me to start, we're coming into like survey season. So they asked me if on the side of seeing patients that I would also audit charts. Okay. So like I can do that from the road, but it wouldn't full-time hours, but it would probably be a couple hours here and there.
Okay.
We talked about like, Laurent shipping cars out or like trailering the cars out and then like me flying out, so at least I can get like the 4 extra days of work in the beginning and like the 4 extra days at the end. So at least one of us is working.
Sure. Now, do you guys have like goals for the actual drifting? Because I know when I talk to some people, it started as a hobby and then they might want to go pro, or they're just content for it to be a hobby, but it feels like buying a boat. Like it feels like they just kind of become money pits. So at some point it's like, is it, just a hobby that you're just going to throw money at because it makes you happy? Or is there a point where, you're trying to either have sponsors so that maybe some of those costs are covered, or like, what's the overall goal?
I'm a money pit.
She's like, I own it.
No, I'm a money pit. So there's no part of me that ever wants to go pro. There's no part of me that ever wants to do any of that. Fun local comps, I'm all for. I did my like second comp at the Wall Stadium thing, and just to see the not dynamics, but just to see how everybody went from like happy having fun drifting
to like it's like game time. So, like it was a switch.
Right. It was like a very like on off. Yeah. All of a sudden people are upset. They're upset with each other. They're talking.
They're upset with the judges.
They're upset at the judges. Like,
and that's not the only grassroots event that this happened at. Even like Catch My Drift, I heard a lot of bad things about. Like,
yeah, and I was like, I liked
not about the event, but like the drivers were all really like pissy because they really didn't like the judging and the way things were going, and rules were getting switched, and like I don't want any of that, you know what I mean? It's like playing a board game with your little brother or little sister or whatever, and then they change the rules as it goes, and like nobody's having a good time anymore and everybody's mad.
Right.
And
I like
I don't want anything to do with that.
Driving with my friends, just like and when I say I want to do a little bit of competition, I mean like my local competition.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? Like
my first,
not like a series.
No.
My first event at Capitol, Lust was doing a comp. Was it my first one or my second one?
Yeah, I think that was my first one. I did that comp.
So I found the comp a little boring. I'm not going to lie. And I think it's just because I hadn't like been to one. Like it took fucking forever. Now, with that being said, that is not in reference to Lust. It was their first time. Like they're all still trying to figure out how to keep things going, how they want to manage it, etc. Now, what I did notice, which is what I thought was interesting, is what you guys are talking about is like the switch in demeanor and like how people like transition through things. What I found interesting was the drivers, the male drivers, and we'll do it that way, that I knew that were there, their need to win or their want to win, they overdrove. And they fucked up typically in their second run because they were trying really, really hard to win. You know what I mean? So it was like that mental shift because they were striving for something versus just enjoying themselves.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. There's always a lot of that.
That also is a great point because I also, when I'm driving to like have fun, when the stress isn't there, I drive 100 times better than like there's stress.
No, I mean it makes sense. It makes sense. It's basically like performance anxiety, essentially, because you know there's something on the line at the other end. Laurent said, "Came to drive. If I win, I win," and I think that's fair. I mean, that's the approach of if I walk away with money, I walk away with money. If I don't, all right.
I still had fun with my friends, right?
Exactly.
And that's like the whole like keep drifting fun thing. It's such a cliche thing to say, but like it's really the truth. Like,
if you're not having fun
doing it,
if you're not having fun, don't do it.
I feel like that kind of goes back to the last live that we did where we were talking about the whole drag being so different than drift, even like being on the same property.
Yeah.
When you add that level of competition in where there's something on the line, especially money, there's this shift in how people are willing to interact with each other because they feel like they have to like keep information close because you can't have that information because it might give you a leg up. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. It all makes sense. Definitely.
All right. Well, we have reached the hour and a half mark. It happens quickly.
I've held in every yawn I have.
Oh, I didn't.
I'm so proud of you.
I did not hold in a single one.
Well, I'm so glad you ladies were willing to take out the time for this. I'm really grateful to have met you guys. Yeah. We'll definitely have to see what we can do about. I'll reach out to. It starts with a T. Terrace. I'll reach out to Capitol and see what they say. Like if we try to make it more of an event, and make it a ladies' day, see what that would look like. Because the other thing with that is going to be picking like a time and then how we want to market it.
Yeah.
Because obviously we want to push that out somewhere into the ether, so people know it's happening.
Yeah, of course.
But I definitely think, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Great call, Juliana. She said, thanks, ladies.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Laurent said, gracias.
De nada.
All right, ladies. Thank you so much. I appreciate you both.
Night, guys.
Bye. All right, you guys. Okay, there they go.